I'm making my own work clothes. I've been doing this for the past few years, and I showed a jacket here a couple weeks ago on one of my videos that I use through the winter time for logging. Today I'm working on one for spring and fall of the year, so it needs to be a little bit lighter. And I've got this army coat from Germany. It's a wool coat that was made around the 1960s, I think, 60s or 70s. So I take my insulating layer and I put patches on it, usually using either Cordura nylon or Ventile cotton. I've got both on this coat here. Cordura nylon is great on any of the high wear areas that you have on your clothing, and the DWR treatment makes it waterproof. So obviously it doesn't breathe very well. You wouldn't want to do your entire jacket in that because you want your perspiration to still have a way to get out. All right, so here we got the sleeve over here, and as a starting point, I usually pick a seam, like a straight seam like this one going down the sleeve. With this here, if you want to improve the strength of your seams, you'll bring your patch over top of it and you'll sew it on the far side to the jacket. And then you've got the strength of your new patch seam as well as the strength of the seam that was originally there, so you can increase the durability of your stuff at the same time as you sew it. So it's that seam there that I'm on the sleeve that I'm going to use as my starting point. And because it's a fairly straight edge, I'm going to take a straight edge in my material here and line it up with that. Okay, and then down here at the bottom of the sleeve, here's where you have to start allowing for your fold, right, so that you can have a finished edge. So I'm going to fold this up about 1/2 inch, maybe a little less than that. And I'm going to fold it this way about 1/2 inch. Okay, that makes the two seams. And then I'm going to put that down right here at the bottom of this here seam here. And again on the far side of it. And if I hold that there, I'll just take one of these clips. You can use anything, a pin, whatever, and stick that on there. That's going to be now my starting point for this, this pattern for the sleeve. And then I've got to keep that same 1/2 inch edge coming all the way over to as far this way as I want it to go. But we're going to fold that over like that and line it up with the cuff. Stretch it out some, and then we'll clip it over here. Okay, and then going up the sleeve, we got to take this, fold it a little bit, line it up with the seam, make sure it's stretched out, and I'll peg it up here somewhere.
Why do you have a marker there?
Because we've got to draw out a pattern still, Leo, to go and make this work. Okay, so far we've got the cuff down here, we've got this attached up here near the armpit, and then I know that this seam then all lines up well. Now comes the hard part, where the shoulder curves up here. We basically just have to estimate that and try to draw a pattern accordingly. So I'm going to flatten this out as best I can. Here's the shoulder coming up this way. Here's where it fastens on at the armpit. We're just going to lay this over top of it, and I can kind of feel where the seam comes up like that. So I have to go just up another 1/2 inch or so again for what we're going to fold over in fabric. And I have to make sure I have it right there to the armpit with a little bit of fold. And then from there, we're going to just do a rough drawing of how this is going to fit. And you want to try to draw it that you leave extra, because it's always easier to cut more off than it is to add material. You can't, right? So there again is sort of the line of it. I'm going to come up about here, therefore, and draw and try to follow that pattern. And here's the top of the shoulder here. Now it's going to get even harder because it comes around to the other side of the sleeve. Now what I'm going to do is take the sleeve and try to fold this.
You sure you know what you're doing, Dad?
I mean, this is just work clothing, so it doesn't matter if it's a little bit rough. I need this to come around that sleeve and over this side. And now I've got to pick an ending point for this. And it's going to line up with another seam that runs here on the jacket. So there's the seam I can feel underneath here. And then there's an elbow patch on this coat that I may as well encompass at the same time. And that rounds around like this. So I have to come back again a 1/2 inch wider. And I'm going to try to draw this circle that I'm feeling underneath there. Like that. We're going to take our scissors and cut that out.
And
There we go. This stuff is just crazy strong. I don't know what they make this out of, but it's pretty amazing stuff. And you can do anything to that. It basically doesn't tear.
alright, so you're saying if I drop that from outer space and it starts burning in the atmosphere, it won't get destroyed. Or if a nuclear bomb comes down, or if an asteroid comes down and smashes right head in collision on it, it won't break.
That's right.
Oh my god.
I'm going to take my pattern, fold it the 1/2 inch down on this edge, fold it about a 1/2 inch on that edge. That makes it easy for me. I'm going to line that up with the cuff down here where we started our pattern. And then from there we're going to start putting this on. There, that's pretty hard stuff to sew through. Anyway, once I get this attached here at this point, then I line it up and I'm going to start sewing this way and up this seam here, and then we'll figure out the whole other side as time goes on. And if our pattern's too big, we'll cut some off it. If it's too small, then we screwed up. We're on to the other sleeve of the coat, and a few days have passed since we did the first videos on this. I'm really sick today with a cold, so it was a good chance to work at this project a little bit. And I'm just going to show how this looks laid out and attached to the sleeve. So I would have started over here in this corner. And then as I go up the seam, you can see none of this is sewed yet, but I've got a stitch here and a stitch here and there. And so I just start working around the coat. And down here on the wrist, I've got 2 so far. I'm going to continue now to go along the top of the shoulder here and along the wrist down here, flip it over to the other side, and then we'll start pegging that side on. You do this to ensure that your patch actually fits before you take the time to just start sewing it, because sometimes an adjustment has to be made. Sometimes you just cut the thing totally wrong and you're not satisfied, and you got to start over. We fell short a little bit of material to come over to this far side of the seam, like I had mentioned earlier, to strengthen that seam up, so we ended up on the near side. But no matter, it comes up around the shoulder well, and over on this sleeve it looks good. So now I'm going to start actually down here again at the starting point and sew all the way up this first seam, and then I'm going to sew this way, and then we'll start working our way around.
Woo! That tree is floating right now. You know Minecraft, how trees float? Well, that's doing Minecraft. Look at that thing. You think you could actually lift that? No way.
That's a big bastard.
Yeah, that's like more than 50 pounds. Yo! My dad is such a noob. He's going to be editing this and he's going to see me saying this. So, Daddy, keep this in the video, please.
I got some old dead stuff here. And this is the jacket that we made from our last video. I've got the sleeves done. I just need one patch left here for this shoulder. But otherwise, this is all done. And this is what it's for. Grabbing stuff like this. I'm going to try to roll that up onto my shoulder. You can see that takes all kinds of wear and abrasion coming down my sleeve. Okay, so if you're out doing this type of work, get yourself a good wool insulating layer. It will hold up better than down and other insulating layers that you can use out here. But then if you want to protect your wool jacket and like get yourself a good quality one, it's going to run quite a bit of money unless you can get it secondhand like I often do. But or like this here is a German combat coat. You can get these on eBay. It's a surplus thing and you're going to pay maybe $100. But if you want to protect that, again, I've shown you how you can put your Cordura over it. This stuff is also windproof and waterproof, so it keeps me that much warmer when I'm out here. Hope that helps you guys. Once again, for all the aspiring loggers.